Hello, my fellow YouTubers and subscribers, and welcome to my latest live Q&A. I haven't actually done one of these for quite some time. To celebrate Easter 2022, I thought it would be a good time to do a live Q&A, as I've actually finally got a bit of time off from work. So, yeah, Easter is, well, it's actually Easter Saturday at the time I'm recording this, at the time I'm streaming to you. But tomorrow it will be Easter Sunday. But I have some family commitments tomorrow, so I thought I'd do it today. For those of you who haven't seen these live Q&As yet, basically it's just a chance for you all to ask me any questions you like. I may not be able to answer each question. I try my best, but obviously, you know, I'll try. Is the answer. And yeah, these have proven to be very successful in the past, so hopefully this will be no exception. And I hope everybody is having a nice Easter and will have a nice Easter. It's a very nice day out there. It's, well, currently in the UK, it's like 18 degrees. So, yeah, I'm pretty stoked about that. So, yeah. Oh, I have my first question of the day. Hello, Awesome. Happy Easter to you, too. Does it annoy you that there are actually a lot of people who like the Sonic the Hedgehog movies? It doesn't annoy me. I mean, on the one hand, I'd love it if we all agreed, but then it wouldn't be a perfect world. I do like hearing the other side of the coin, but and they're entitled to their opinions, of course, but I just don't get it. I just did not like the Sonic movies. I just thought they were devoid of what they should have been, which was a closer adaptation of the game. The first one was a stupid road movie, and the second one was more of a comedy than anything else. And the pointless human characters, just why do we need so many human characters? But yeah, I've just accepted by this point that the Sonic movies are what they are. They are going to make another one, of course they will. They'll probably bring Shadow in the next one, and to each their own. I was never that attached to Sonic. I played a few of the games. They're pretty decent. So. Yeah, it doesn't annoy me, but it's one of those things. It's like, oh, okay, if I'm in the minority, then I'll have to deal with that. But there we go. Roll up. Okay. Oh, good question. Who do you think has been the best Spider-Man girlfriend in the film so far? Mary Jane, Gwen, or MJ? Obviously, we've had two versions of Gwen. I do like. I don't know. I think I'm gonna go with MJ, played by Zendaya, because I believe she's actually got quite a nice personality. You know, she's not a ditch. She's not a bimbo. She's quite intelligent. And she has a bit of a dorky, sort of nerdy personality, which is similar to what Peter has. I felt with Kirsten Dunst as Mary Jane, it was a bit like, oh, she needed saving all the time, and she wasn't very self-reliant, and she was a little bit, I don't know, she could be a bit of a sap at times. She could be a little annoying, and the way she went from man to man to man, I don't know. I don't think Mary Jane was written hugely well in those movies, even though I do love the Sam Raimi trilogy. Mary Jane is definitely a flawed character. So the new MJ is my favorite. Although, actually, in terms of the Gwen Stacy's, Bryce Dallas Howard's Gwen, totally pointless. Nothing to do with Bryce. Just pointlessly thrown in for a love triangle. And she's some kind of supermodel of, okay, right. And then in The Amazing Spider-Man, we have Gwen, who is, well, easily the best thing about those movies. You know, Emma Stone is great. You know, she's charming. But for me, it's got to be Zendaya's MJ. And it'll be sad that we probably won't see her again, given the ending of No Way Home. But nevertheless, she is great. Oh, and actually, another person we didn't mention, Liz. I didn't care much for Liz in Homecoming. I thought she was okay. Yeah. The Secrets of Dumbledore or Batman? Oh, well, I'm sorry, Harry. I'm going to have to say the Batman. I thought it was a better made film, despite it being 3 hours long. I thought it was a little more intriguing. And I know you're going to hate me for saying this, but yeah, sorry, man. I did like The Secrets of Dumbledore. I thought it was decent, but the Batman was just a little bit better for me. Who do you find hotter, Eve Moneypenny or Madeline Swan? Good question. I'm going to go with Madeline Swan. I do think Naomi is a beautiful lady, but I don't know. Madeline, wow. I mean, Madeline is gorgeous in both Spectre and No Time to Die, especially when she's wearing that silver dress that she wears in Spectre. I mean, wow, she is gorgeous. But she's equally, she's a great character as well, as well as looking hot. Although I do personally think Ana de Armas is probably the hottest Bond girl we've ever had. But yeah, out of the two you've said, Madeline, definitely. On that subject, they're re-releasing the Bond movies in cinemas in the UK. I think I've actually booked a ticket to see Dr. No, so I'll do a little vlog talking about the experience, because obviously it's the 60th anniversary of Dr. No. So I'll be going to that on Tuesday night after work. So yeah, I'm looking forward to that. It should be fun. I thought if I have to see any of the Bond films back on the big screen, I have to see Dr. No, because it is the anniversary. It's not my favorite film of the series, but I have to see it. And I know they're going to re-release all of them, which is fantastic. So yeah, and I've seen some of the Craig movies in the cinema. Saw No Time to Die quite a few times actually, but I'll go and see as many Bond films as I can. I might skip some of the ones I don't like as much. I'll see as many as I want to see. I probably won't see all 25 because I may not have the money to do that. Who do you think is the best villain from the Burton Schumacher era of Batman movies? I'm going to go with the Penguin. Actually, I do think Jack Nicholson's Joker is good, but for me, the Penguin, played by Danny DeVito, wow, what a character! Tragic, but looked very scary and very authentic. Like, I mean, comparing it to the new Penguin was fine, but I mean, Colin Farrell's acting was superb and the makeup looked good, but the design of it was so bland. They could have. I'm not saying they had to emulate Danny DeVito, but they certainly could have found a more evocative design. But I suppose they were going for something dark and realistic, whereas Tim Burton's version was more gothic. So yeah, different interpretation. Fair enough. Take it how you will. But yeah, whatever. Aardman or Leica? I'm going to go with Aardman just because I know more movies. I've seen a few Leica films, and they are good. They're very good. But yeah, Aardman. And I have a bit of a soft spot for Wallace and Gromit. I'll enjoy watching the Batman on Monday. Do you think Nala could beat Scar? Yeah, I don't see why not. Do you think killing off Bond was the best way to end the Daniel Craig era, or do you think it's going to hurt the franchise? Well, yeah, I was initially against that idea when I heard rumors about it before No Time to Die was released. On reflection, I think, yes, it probably was. I mean, there probably could have been another ending, but actually it did work in the end. I thought, you know what? Because the Daniel Craig era is a self-contained era, on reflection, if he were to have retired again and settled down with his family again, I mean, of course, we would have loved Bond to settle down with his daughter and Madeline and live happily ever after. But sadly, James Bond and the life he lives, he can never have a happy ending. And he basically, the film No Time to Die started with a happy ending. And there's something kind of heroic about him dying as a legend and saving the world from Heracles and sacrificing his family for it. So I thought, okay, they clearly thought about this, and they've not just decided, oh, we're going to kill James Bond. They did think. They probably knew it was going to piss people off. Of course, you're not going to please everyone. And as I was watching it the first time, I was thinking, I don't know if this is going to work. I just don't know if it will work. But it was emotionally powerful, and I've even shed a couple of tears watching it. So I thought, you know what, they did it very sensitively. And growing up with Daniel Craig's James Bond, obviously it meant quite a lot, and it was quite hard hitting. So for that reason, I think it probably was the right decision. And I think there could have been worse ways for him to go. And I think they got it. I think they clearly spent time on it, and they thought about it, and they did it right. And it was a very sad scene, but beautiful way to end the series, because Madeline then tells the story to her daughter, or to their daughter, about, I'm going to tell you the story of a man. His name is Bond, James Bond. And, that's quite a nice way to bookend his series because of the way it started with him in Casino Royale at the end saying the name's Bond, James Bond. So it's like, okay, now it's kind of like encapsulated this tiny era of 5 films into one kind of saga, I suppose, which I think is nice. If we got a fourth Lego movie, what do you think it would be? I don't know. I'd kind of like to see if they were to do another Lego movie. Part of me thinks they'd do another Lego Batman film or Lego Movie 3. Perhaps they might do a third Lego movie or Lego Worlds or something. I don't know. They might do another Lego movie, but have it set with different characters. No idea, to be honest. Or Lego Justice League, perhaps. They might do something like that. Do you think we'll get a Gamora series on Disney Plus, focusing on the displaced past Gamora from Endgame? Maybe. Probably. Yeah. I mean, Disney only care about money, so why not? Pepperoni or margarita pizza? Both. I don't have a preference really with those. I've grown quite fond of both. Yeah, both. Favorite Merry scene in Lord of the Rings? Oh, good question. My favorite Merry scene in Lord of the Rings would probably have to be the scene where he's talking to the Ents and he's trying to convince them to join the fight at Helm's Deep not Helm's Deep, sorry, Isengard, and retake, basically get revenge. So that scene where he's like, how can that be your decision? And then in the end, Pippin helps him, tricks Treebeard into going back to Isengard. So, yeah, I mean, for the Two Towers, there's a lot of character growth with Merry, and yeah, that particular moment is when you see, okay, this guy, he's not the, the kind of jokey fool-like character that he was in Fellowship of the Ring. He's matured since then, and Pippin has a little bit, but he's yet to go on that journey really in Return of the King. So, yeah. Do you think War for the Planet of the Apes was a misleading title? Considering the human-ape war wasn't really the focus of the film. I suppose so. Yeah, it is slightly misleading. It does make sense if you think about the context of the film. It's more about Caesar's internal war. But then I guess the title is more ambiguous than that. It's about Caesar's internal war with his grief, but also the war of the Planet of the Apes, which is the setting of the movie. It's, it's not necessarily, I mean, I know from a marketing standpoint, we all thought this movie was going to be a big bang smash action film, and it really wasn't. The story was much more human and much more intimate than that, which I thought was kind of a interesting way to do it. And it was brilliant for him because the trailer for the film shows you pretty much all the action that's in the film, and there's not much action in it. There's only about 2 action scenes, so there is a little bit of spectacle, but it's not much. So I think that's to their credit that they surprised us in that way. I think it was misleading in a good way. Some people might be disappointed, and that's fine, but I'm not. Do you think the opening title sequence of No Time to Die was a bit all over the place? Basically a collection of references of previous opening title sequences. When you say the title sequence, yeah, I don't know. I mean, I suppose it was a nice homage, and I suppose they did hint towards the death of Bond with the statue on the ground and the sort of the flowers and the plants or whatever that were growing in the poison garden were on there, and there were references to Heracles, and yeah, there was an underwater sequence. I guess they were trying to homage a few things, but I didn't really notice it that much. I noticed more, like when the car was falling and, Bond and Madeline were going past each other and the cogs falling. I just thought, okay, time, and the hourglass, references to like not much time, no time to die. The guns being the DNA for Heracles. I just thought it wasn't really homaging the old films that much, other than the Thunderball one, which was the underwater part. But I thought it was all clever. I thought it worked rather well. And the masks of Safin. So I'm not sure which other title sequences it references, but yeah, I only noticed the Thunderball reference. I guess maybe that could also be The Spy Who Loved Me, but I disagree with that statement. But you're entitled to your opinion, of course. Which underrated animated film most deserves a sequel, in your opinion? A Bug's Life. I would love A Bug's Life to have a sequel, just because the first one is so damn funny. It's just really funny. I love it. It tells a great story as well, and I would love to see the circus gang come back. I know it's been so long since the first one. The first one came out, A Bug's Life came out in 1998, so it's well over 20 years old. And it would look so different if they decided to pursue another one. But yeah, just from a personal nostalgic standpoint, I would love to see another one. Do you think we could have seen Snoke fight with a lightsaber in the sequel trilogy? Yes, I would have liked that, actually, considering what they did to Snoke, the way that he ended up being a bit of a throwaway character. You know, I mean, I liked the way his death was done. I must admit that was shocking, and I didn't see it coming. But it would have been nice to see him training Kylo Ren. Maybe we could have seen a flashback of him training Kylo Ren. But obviously then it was revealed that Snoke was a clone, an alien clone or something. We didn't really know anything about Snoke. And then it was revealed that Palpatine was using Snoke as a puppet and was behind the whole thing. So, yeah, The Rise of Skywalker kind of... It's weird. Like, they wrote The Force Awakens with a sense of mystery that, okay, 8 and 9 were going to resolve some of that, and then The Last Jedi comes along. Rian Johnson decides to flip it in another direction to keep the audience guessing, which fair enough. But the fact that he killed off Snoke was kind of weird. It was like, oh, so what? Yeah, I don't believe that Palpatine was intended to come back from the beginning. I'm sorry, I just don't believe that. I think that's bullshit. I feel like J.J. Abrams and everybody working on The Rise of Skywalker thought, how are we going to follow The Last Jedi? Because it completely changed what we had planned for number 7. And while I do think that all 3 films are entertaining in their own way, they are quite uneven as a trilogy. And The Rise of Skywalker did kind of feel like, okay, well, I guess we'll bring the Emperor back because, well, he is the classic villain, so we can find a way to make him, you know, I mean, let's just say that he's a clone, you know, and he cloned Snoke. That'll work. Yeah, so it did feel like that was kind of a quick fix, but I do still enjoy The Rise of Skywalker. I mean, it's decent, but yeah, it was juggling quite a lot. And I think after the reception of The Last Jedi, it was never going to, you know, let's just say restore people's faith in the series, but never mind. Right, where am I? I've lost exactly what question I'm on. Are you planning to review any TV shows after Doctor Who? Not currently, maybe, but reviewing a TV show does take a long time, so I'd have to see how many episodes there are. Like, I did try and review Dark Materials, so maybe I'll finish those, but I just haven't had the time or the motivation to do that, so I'm not really one for series. I normally watch films, so Doctor Who is like the lone exception, and a few other shows. But to review a show, yeah, it does take a long time. I mean, I will resume the Doctor Who reviews soon with Peter Capaldi's era, so that's coming. Oh, hello, Sam. I've not seen Happy Gilmore, I'm afraid. 21 and 22 Jump Street, I have seen them. They are good. I thought they were pretty funny. And the second one had a pretty funny ending with the with the way they were teasing the future missions. That was kind of funny. Do you think Will Smith's career can ever recover from the Oscars incident? Don't know, don't care. I'm sick of people going on about the Oscars. Not you. This isn't directed at you. I don't know why people are making such a big deal out of this. In my opinion, they both did. So you know, Chris Rock shouldn't have said what he said, and Will Smith shouldn't have hit him. But why can't we just move on from it? You know, it's an incident that happened. Let's just put it in the past. But no, it has to be sensationalized, and yeah. So in terms of his career, I don't know, and I don't care. So it's whatever happens, it's on his shoulders. Opinion on Adam West as Batman? Don't really have an opinion because I haven't really seen him that much. Sorry, I need to watch that film. Which Hogwarts houses would you place the heroes from the Daniel Craig Bond era in? Okay, interesting question. Well, I suppose Bond himself, Daniel Craig is a Gryffindor. Felix, maybe Hufflepuff. Same. I think Ravenclaw, I'd probably put Mallory, Gareth Mallory, or M. Judi Dench's M would probably go in Ravenclaw. Moneypenny would go in Hufflepuff. Q would probably go in Gryffindor. I'm not entirely sure who else there is. Mathis, he's a little bit shady, so maybe I'll put him in Ravenclaw. Not too sure, to be perfectly honest. I think that's everyone. Oh, Paloma, I'd put her probably in Gryffindor, and Nomi would probably go in Hufflepuff as well. Can you do a Mr. Arnold Mr. Freeze impression? Yeah, I'll give it a go. Allow me to break the ice. All right, everyone, chill. What killed the dinosaurs? The Ice Age. Cool party. Yeah, that's all I'm going to do, because I can't remember any other lines. Yeah. Favorite Batman villain and why? Interesting question. Like, generally, I'm not too sure, but in terms of the movies, Heath Ledger's Joker is my favorite, but I do like the Penguin and the concept of his tragic backstory, but I suppose I'm going to be boring and say the Joker just because he's the most well-known and he's kind of the most complex in a lot of ways. But there are other great villains like Clayface. We need a Clayface. We need a Clayface on screen. Maybe if they do a sequel with Robert Pattinson, they'll do that. But what was I going to say? I've forgotten. Anyway, who do you want to do the opening song for the next Bond film? I don't know. I like Michael Bublé to do one, but I don't think he's doing music anymore, so no idea, to be honest. If Primeval continued with Connor and Abby having a son at some point, do you think it'd be appropriate if they called him Nick Stephen Temple or something like that? It's not a bad idea, actually. That's quite a good name. Yeah, no, I like the sound of that. You should suggest that to ITV if they decide to reboot Primeval. Do you think Batman and Robin would be better if Tim Burton had directed it? Well, obviously. Have you seen Fresh Prince of Bel-Air? No. Are you a fan of Stranger Things? I haven't seen it, I'm afraid. Sorry. Considering she's become such a fan favorite despite a minimal role, do you think there's potential for Paloma to appear again in the future Bond films? Not the future Bond films. If Amazon make a series, perhaps they might do something. But I'm a believer of the phrase "you can't have too much of a good thing." So I like her for her 5-10 minutes in No Time to Die. I think that's enough for now. But it's cool to see behind the scenes stuff of her filming it. That's good. I just think if they show too much of her, it might ruin the character. But Ana de Armas is great, so I'll definitely follow Ana de Armas in more movies. Yeah. Paloma or Tariel? If you're asking me which one I prefer as a character and which one I prefer in terms of like attractiveness, I'm going to say Paloma. But Tariel's cute. Don't get me wrong. If Tim Burton directed the third Batman, how do you think it would have turned out? I think it would have been on a similar vein to Batman Returns. Very dark, very gothic. We could have had a very dark version of the Riddler, but oh well, we got that in the end with Matt Reeves. So, yeah. What type of Bond would you like to see in the upcoming films in terms of look, personality of the character? Well, there's only so many ways that you can do it. I think I don't know whether they'll go for someone who's quite rugged, a bit like Craig, or whether they'll probably go for someone who's very good looking. In terms of what I want to see, just someone who has to obviously be physically fit and capable to play the role. Somebody who's aged about mid to late 30s to start with. And in terms of personality, it's hard to say because Bond is a difficult character to play. But I'm interested to see who's going to get it. That's what I'll say. Opinion on Matthew Lillard as Shaggy? Oh, he's fantastic. He's amazing. His voice and his accent that he does is brilliant. He's hilarious, and he totally studied the character from the cartoons. You can tell. So yeah, great job. Probably the best actor in those films, actually, in those two live-action Scooby-Doo films. I'll review them at some point, but yeah. Have you seen Arnold Schwarzenegger, Jingle All the Way? No, I haven't seen it. What do you think about Scrat from Ice Age finally getting his nut? Yeah, well, it's about bloody time. With the use of Starman in both Lightyear trailers now, do you think it'll end up being the film's end credits song? Yeah, probably. Thoughts on Freddie Prinze Jr. as Fred in the Scooby-Doo movies? Oh, yeah, he was good. I liked him as Fred. I thought he embodied that kind of confident cockiness. There were some weird, cringy acting moments, though. Certainly in the first one, where he had to pretend to be possessed by the green mist or whatever it was from those weird creatures. And then he started talking like a rapper. He was like, "What's going on, dog? Yo!" When I was like, "What?" All the comedy was a bit weird, but you know, he is a good actor, and I thought he worked as Fred. Certainly in the second one, he was a bit better. So, yeah, if they did a third one, I would have been happy to see him continue in the role. Do you want to see Dinosaur and Brother Bear have continuations on Disney Plus? Only if they're good. I'm not hugely hyped for that. I mean, Brother Bear has had a sequel. There was a second one, but I didn't see it. Maybe I'll see it at some point. I do need to review Brother Bear, actually. Thoughts on Marmite? I like Marmite. It's nice. I don't have it all the time. I probably should, because it is very healthy. But it's very salty. But I do enjoy having it on toast at some points. Should we just stop making movies based on video games at this point, or is there still potential for a good one? No matter what I think, they'll never stop. But in terms of what I think, yeah, I don't think it's worth it. I mean, you know, there's always a chance. You know, there's always room for optimism. So maybe there will be something that will come along. Heck, maybe the third Sonic movie will surprise me, and maybe I'll like it. But who knows? So far, we've not been very lucky with movie-based video games, and I know that there's video game-based movies. That's what I meant. I know there's a TV series of The Last of Us coming, so don't fuck it up. Do you think we'll see Qui-Gon Jinn in Obi-Wan Kenobi? Potentially, yes, because if we all remember at the end of Revenge of the Sith, Yoda references Qui-Gon Jinn and he says, "How to communicate with him, I'll teach you." So, and this show is going to be Obi-Wan in isolation on Tatooine. That's nothing to do with coronavirus. If anyone asks, it's to do with the story. Like when he's watching over Luke over that 20-year period from end of Revenge of the Sith to A New Hope. So yeah, and we already know Hayden Christensen is back in the suit. I think he's going to be Darth Vader. So that'll be nice. It'll be nice to see more of what happened in that gap, because it's such a long gap in time. But yeah, it will be interesting. I mean, it looks good, so I'm looking forward to it. Oh, it's warm today. Do you think there'll be a big tearjerker moment in Lightyear, like most other modern Pixar films? But potentially, I don't know what it would be. Maybe I don't know. It's hard. As Pixar, they've always surprised me. Like certain moments, like with Inside Out, that made me cry. I never would have expected those moments to make me cry. And Soul has got quite some profound moments. But then there's other moments, like in Up, where it's someone's died or something like that. It could be something as simple as that. It's hard to say. It's really hard to say. Thoughts on the scene in Scooby-Doo movie where Shaggy and Scooby have a burping and farting competition? That's my thoughts. Have you played The Last of Us? What do you think of Pedro Pascal as Joel? Yes, I've played The Last of Us. I've played both of them, both games. I really like them. I love them. The first one is beautiful. It's a beautiful game. The second one is very good as well, but it is very polarizing. If you can't accept some of the story decisions, then it's not worth playing it. And as for Pedro Pascal, yeah, I mean, he'll be good. I think he'll be quite good. I heard recently that he said he's never actually played the games. So, okay, Pedro, better start researching. But no, I'm excited to watch the series and see how they recapture some of the classic moments from the games. But in my opinion, I don't think the show will be as good as the games. But I'm prepared to give it a chance. Which big June movie are you most looking forward to? Jurassic World Dominion, Lightyear, or Elvis? Yeah, the Elvis trailer looks okay. I mean, I'm not too much of a fan of Baz Luhrmann, to be honest. I think his directing style is a little bit out there. It's a bit weird. But, you know, I might see Elvis. I'll see, maybe. Jurassic World Dominion is probably the one I'm most excited about because of all the people that are coming back in it. And I'm actually a fan of Fallen Kingdom. So, yeah, I'm excited to see this one. Lightyear, 50-50. Can you do an impression of Jack Black singing What is it good for from Gulliver's Travels? I don't remember the lyrics that much. I'll try and do like one of the lines, but it's been a while since I've seen that. I saw that film like over 10 years ago when it first came out, but I don't remember much about it, so bear with me. I think it was something like, what is good for? I don't know. I'd need to watch it again. Which Hogwarts houses would you place the herd from Ice Age in? Oh, well, I'm not going to go through every character. I'll go through the main ones. Sid, I would put in Hufflepuff. Manny, Gryffindor. Diego, Gryffindor. Ellie, probably Ravenclaw. Crash and Eddie, Ravenclaw. Peaches, maybe Gryffindor. Yeah. Do you think there should ever be a Bond villain with mirror hands syndrome, seeing as most of them have some kind of scarring or deformity? Yeah, that would be interesting. Yeah, I'd be up for that. Speaking of Bond villains, do you think Ben Kingsley should play one? Yes, actually, I think Ben Kingsley would make a great Bond villain. I think he would actually be quite good. Other than the character of Buzz, do you think there'll be any links and references to Toy Story in Lightyear? Probably. I mean, they're definitely going to use the line to infinity and beyond. I mean, if they don't use it, I'll be amazed. Maybe the music, perhaps. Maybe they'll have a little bit of the Toy Story score. Maybe they'll homage the old scores, like they did in Toy Story 4. They homaged the Toy Story 2 soundtrack. But we'll see. Check out True Lies. True Lies. That's the James Cameron film, isn't it? Yeah, I'll have to check that one out. Yeah, but I've heard it's really long, so I'm gonna need a long time to watch it. I'm sorry I haven't seen The Office. I know, I'm a boring person. Slap. I'm terrible. I haven't seen The Office. Do you think Ice Age would benefit from passing the torch to a new generation of protagonists, following the children of Sid, Diego, and Peaches? Obviously, Scrat ain't going anywhere. To be honest, the best thing for Ice Age is to kill it, is to just cancel it. I think they should end Ice Age by maybe killing all the characters, moving out of the Ice Age, moving into the Stone Age. Maybe that could be the next series on Disney Plus. I just think with this set of characters, with this group, it's done. It's time to move on. There's no need to continue it anymore. Literally, yeah, kill Ice Age. I mean, it's already killed itself, so it's not like I'm doing anything wrong, really. Yeah. Have you seen any adaptations of Gulliver's Travels apart from Jack Black's version? There was a very old one. I'm not sure if it was made in the 50s or 60s or whenever. I saw it when I was a kid. I couldn't honestly tell you about it, but I know there's another version I've seen, but I'd have to watch it again if I wanted to review it. Worst villain performance from live-action Batman films. For me, it's there's quite a few that are really bad, but for me, it's a tie between Uma Thurman as Poison Ivy and Arnold Schwarzenegger as Mr. Freeze. Both miscast to the hilt, and Oy vey. Yeah, exactly. He's got his nut. What more does he want? Favorite action scene from the Cornetto trilogy. Sean, yeah, I know what the movies are. Yeah. Favorite action scene. I love the ending of Hot Fuzz when Nicholas and Danny take on the village, and Simon Pegg fights Timothy Dalton in the model village. That's pretty funny. Favorite movie in the Cornetto trilogy? Hot Fuzz. I will review all three of those films at some point. They're great. Well, most of them are. Not crazy about The World's End or whatever it's called, but I liked Shaun of the Dead. I think it's a bit overrated, but I do like it. Hot Fuzz is brilliant. It's definitely my favorite. What do you think will be this year's most commercially successful animated film? Minions: The Rise of Gru, Lightyear coming close. Yeah, I think maybe Minions because of the fucking Minions. I mean, then again, Lightyear is Pixar, but thing is, I would have said Turning Red maybe, but they didn't release it in the cinema, so shame on them. Have you ever walked out of a film in the cinema? No, I've come close. I was close to walking out of the Emoji Movie, but I was with a friend, so I couldn't really do that. And I feel like it's always good if you're reviewing a movie to watch to the end, just in case you miss something important. So, yeah, there have been times when I was tempted though to walk out of the Emoji Movie. That was one I was very close to leaving. I'd had enough of that. Oh, you walked out of Ted 2. Oh, damn. I actually thought Ted 2 was all right. I mean, it's not as good as the first one, but I'm surprised you hated it. Fair enough. Could Bond work as a Christmas film and Santa is the main bad guy? It's funny you should say that. I made a James Bond Christmas film. It's called Christmas Bonding. It's on Payjack Productions. So I'll let you answer that question. I'll let you decide whether you think it works or not. I thought it did, but we'll see. Give it a watch and see what you think. Yeah, there's already a Christmas Bond film. I'm glad we agree about Hot Fuzz. After their work with Marvel, do you think the Russo brothers should direct future Transformers movies? No. We don't need any more Transformers movies. Favorite Simon Pegg performance? I'm going to actually say Hot Fuzz. I think he's hilarious in Hot Fuzz. I like him in other things. I think he was in one of the Narnia movies. He was quite good in that. And he is good in Shaun of the Dead as well. I mean, to be fair, he is good in pretty much everything he's in. It's just some of the films he's in are shit. Like the new Ice Age film, which is on Disney Plus. It's so shit. Oy vey. But yeah, no, he's the only good thing in it. So yeah, I like Simon Pegg. Good actor. Ugh. Favorite Edgar Wright movie? Oh, it's a good question. I'm probably going to say Hot Fuzz at the moment because I haven't seen all of his movies. I know he directed Baby Driver or something. I do need to watch that. I did like Last Night in Soho a lot. That was really good. I enjoyed that. Worst action star? I hate to say this, but I think Liam Neeson. I think he's kind of ruined his career by doing all these crappy action movies. Okay, he's got to take work where he can as an actor. Fair enough, but it's not done him any favors, I don't think. But also, I think Pierce Brosnan did a similar thing after he, in his early 60s anyway. Do you think we'll see more X-Men in the Multiverse of Madness than just Xavier? Potentially. They might tease Wolverine. I mean, who knows? I'm excited to see a new generation of X-Men coming in. That will be nice. I do think the Fox series of X-Men films got really bad towards the end, certainly with Dark Phoenix, and the New Mutants was shit as well. But yeah, I think Patrick Stewart making a cameo in the new Doctor Strange movie will be quite nice. But I hope Hugh Jackman doesn't come back, only because I think he made the decision to leave the role of Wolverine. He's done. It would be very anticlimactic to the film Logan. I don't think it's necessary for him to come back. But yeah, I mean, and with Charles Xavier, I mean, to be honest, they killed him off twice. I would have thought by this point they were done, but we'll see. how do you feel about Q being gay in No Time to Die and how it was handled in the film? It was fine. They didn't make a big thing of it, and I think that's important. That's important to remember. Much like the Nomi situation, it's not like they made her the main star of the film. She's just an ally. Same thing with Q. It was like, okay, we saw him preparing for a date, and he said, "Oh, he'll be here in 20 minutes." You don't need to be too explicit with it. It was just implied, and I think that's nice. Because that way you're not ramming it down people's throats, but at the same time you're still kind of adhering to the movement, the Me Too movement, and sort of giving that side of the audience something. So it's a nice compromise, I think. So I thought they handled it pretty well, to be honest. I'm not saying I want them to do that for every film, but for that, it worked, and it was fine. Have you seen Scott Pilgrim versus the World? Possibly. Can't remember. Might have seen it years ago, but I don't remember it. Which Batman villain do you most want to see? Do you most want to see in the inevitable sequel? Clayface. I answered that earlier. Worst comedy actor? Adam Sandler. Sorry. I know some of his earlier stuff is supposed to be quite good, but in the last, certainly the last decade, and maybe the last couple of decades, he's he's really fallen from grace. He's just not very funny, and I think maybe it's partly to do with the scripts that he gets or he writes, but it's just not very good. But if the guy is happy doing what he's doing, then that's fine by me. Do you think Sony should stop making Spider-Man villain solo films after they do Venom 3? Yeah, because the new Morbius is shit. It's terrible. So, yeah, I think they should. But, my opinion counts for nothing because money counts for everything. Any animated series? I watched the recent Monsters, Inc. series called Monsters at Work. It was fine. It was all right. Nothing to rave about, but it was good. When I was a kid, I used to watch SpongeBob. I don't watch that anymore. But that was good. I used to watch the old Star Wars series. I didn't watch the new CGI Clone Wars that much. I watched some of it. It was good, but the 2D one, the hand drawn one, it was only 2 parts long. It was like Volume 1, Volume 2. It was just called Star Wars Clone Wars. I recently rewatched that on Disney Plus a few months ago, and that was actually quite entertaining. But yeah, I don't tend to watch many series. I don't know why. Recently watched Hilda on Netflix. Oh, cool. Nice to know that that's a good series. Mona the Vampire. I remember that. My sister used to watch that when we were younger. That was actually quite a charming show. Oh, it's warm. Oh, yes, thanks for reminding me. I did watch the X-Men animated series. I watched the X-Men Evolution when I was about 10, I think. I was about 9. Around the time that X-Men 3 was coming out, I watched the X-Men cartoons every Saturday morning, so that was quite nice. I think Die Another Day should be remade into a better film. It sucks how it turned out because of a great promise. No, they don't need to remake it. They just need to move on from it, I think is the best thing to do. But yeah, you've heard of the upcoming Prehistoric Planet show on Apple TV. Is that the Dinosaurs one? With David Attenborough. Is that like The Last Dinosaur or something? I forget what it's called, but yeah, if that's the one, then yes. If not, then not entirely sure. Oh, it is the dinosaur one. Oh yeah. Yeah, I've heard of it. I've not watched anything in regards to it, but yeah, it could be good. Can you do an impression of Jar Jar Binks? Oh, right. I'll give it a go. It's not going to be perfect. Excuse me, but the safest place will be Ganga City. It is where I grew up. It is a hidden city. Mystical Jar Jar Binks. This is your humble servant. What else does he say? General, Misa don't have a booba. Woo, 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 woo. What a shit character. Yeah. Best action scene from the Jurassic Park film so far. I don't know if it really counts as an action scene. I suppose the kitchen scene for me is I've always loved. That was very intense. But actually, to be honest, if we're talking like proper full-on action scenes, the scene halfway through the film when it's raining and they're in the park and the cars have stopped moving and the T-Rex comes and attacks them, that's pretty entertaining. I love that. Could you? Oh, I thought you said could you do Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson as Bane? I thought, blimey, I don't know how I could do that impression. Yeah, I think physically he would be a good Bane, actually. It's just how the voice would sound is what I would want to know. But physically, yes, I think he'd be great. And also, he is kind of bald most of the time, so yeah, that works. Favorite moment of Tigress from the Kung Fu Panda films? Favorite moment from Tigress. I've not seen the films in a long time. I like the moment where she's talking about Tai Lung and her backstory, but to be honest, like the scene, probably this. I think there's a scene on a boat. I think in the second film, like where her and Poe are talking. I think that scene probably. I'd need to watch the films again. Oh, thank you. Glad you like the Jar Jar Binks impression. Yeah, it's not perfect. Misa proposed that I give emergency powers to the Supreme Chancellor. Thanks, Jar Jar. Thanks a bunch. So that's what George meant when he said, "Oh, Jar Jar's the key to all this." Well, great storytelling, George. Thanks for that. Do you think Fred is like the Jar Jar Binks of YouTube? Well, I wouldn't say Fred is a racist stereotype, but he's certainly annoying. If you can meet any director or filmmaker, who would it be? Oh, definitely Peter Jackson. The guy is my inspiration. I'd like to meet other people, though. Like James Cameron would be a good one to meet. Stanley Kubrick would be pretty inspirational. But mainly Peter Jackson. You know, he's my favorite director. So, yeah, I'd love to spend a whole afternoon talking to him about his vision. And that ends the questions. Favorite scene of John Simm as the Master? Ooh. Well, I like a lot of scenes with him. I think the end of The Sound of Drums is pretty dramatic when he takes control. I like that. But my favorite scene is probably when he's in the meeting in Downing Street and he gasses everybody. And the guy goes, "You're insane!" And then he just does that. And then he's tapping on the table. But for purely comedic reasons, I also love the scene when he's dancing to Scissor Sisters. That's pretty funny. Your Lord and Master stands on high. Playing track 3. Would you like to meet Edgar Wright? Yeah, I would love to meet Edgar Wright. I think he'd be a nice guy, and I'd like to hear more about his filmmaking. Have you seen Nightmare Alley? Yes, I have seen Nightmare Alley. It's one thing I've seen. It's not very good, in my opinion. It was well made, but I personally didn't like the ending of the film, and I thought that it was way too long and dull. It dragged on for a long time. It didn't need to be 2.5 hours, but yeah, I love Guillermo del Toro as a director. That's another director I'd like to meet, Guillermo del Toro, because, well, he's nuts. But yeah, Nightmare Alley, not my favorite film of his, to be honest. I have not seen the Jurassic World prologue. I'm very sorry. Oh, you've met Edgar Wright twice. Oh, do explain. I'd love to hear more about that. Even if you want to explain on Facebook or whatever, that's fine. Bryan Cranston. Yeah, not a bad choice, I suppose. He's quite old now, though, I think. Maybe he'd be a little bit too old to play Gordon. I'm not sure what age he's supposed to be, really. What do you think has been the best Matt Reeves movie so far? War for the Planet of the Apes. Are there any movies you could recite the entire script from? Well, that's a good question. Stuff like The Lion King, I suppose. Skyfall, No Time to Die, Lord of the Rings, Inside Out, maybe, at a stretch. Yeah, just those are a handful. The Harry Potter films, probably. Yeah, something like that. Maybe Star Wars, depending on which one. And not long till the Obi-Wan series. That should be good. Looking forward to that. Oh, that's nice. So he was obviously working in London at the time when you bumped into him. Nice. Have you seen Last Night in Soho, Reese? Who do you think would win in a duel, Darth Vader or Darth Maul? I think Darth Maul, because he's more agile, he's more on his feet, he's got more acrobatic skills. Vader is restricted by the suit, and he has a lot of breathing problems. He's one of the most asthmatic movie villains of all time. So, yeah, I think he's kind of weighed down by a lot of what he's got. But although I think Vader has a firmer grasp on the Force, so that could help him. But I think Darth Maul would ultimately win, to be honest. Have you seen Drake and Josh? Yes, I have seen it. I couldn't tell you what episodes. It's been such a long time. I saw it when I was probably about 10. And it was entertaining. Yeah, it was good. I liked it. What's the earliest film you remember seeing? God, I watched a lot of the old Disney animations. I used to have the loads of them on VHS, so it was probably one of those. But the earliest film I saw at the cinema was the first Harry Potter film. That's the earliest memory I have. I think I might have seen one of the Stuart Little films, probably the second one. I definitely, I think I went to see that. I don't remember. Okay. Which Hollywood Mecha Godzilla do you prefer? The Ready Player One version or Godzilla vs. Kong? Probably Godzilla vs. Kong. Thoughts on the recent Drake Bell controversy? Don't know anything about it, so feel free to inform me or enlighten me. You do a General Grievous impression. Okay, no, I'll do it for real. But he does cough. That's part of the impression anyway. I'm going to have to cover my mouth to do it. General Kenobi, you are a bold one. Kill him. I will deal with this Jedi slime myself. You fool. I've been trained in your Jedi arts by Count Dooku. Jack Kenobi. It's the best I can do. It's not great, but it's quite hard to do a Grievous impression. Do you think that the Joker's backstory was unnecessary in Batman 89? No, I don't think so. I think it adds to his character. You do a Tom Hardy Bane impression. Give it a go. Doing a lot of impressions today by the looks of it. Let's not stand on ceremony here, Mr. Wayne. For you, the identity of the Trigger Man is still a mystery. Oh, okay. Ooh, right. He had an inappropriate relationship with an underage girl. Oh, God. Well, he knows the consequences. Oh, thanks, Reese. That's very kind of you. That Bane impression is very good. Thank you. I try my best with the impressions. They're not perfect, but well, yeah. I remember watching one of my friend's Q&As a while ago, and he got asked to do loads of impressions, and it just became a series of impressions requests on the Q&A, which is good. My friend Jack, the film fanatic, bless him. Do you think the Snyderverse will ever be restored? No. Godfather trilogy or 50 Shades? In what context? Which one's better or worse? If you're asking me which one I prefer, Godfather trilogy, of course. We'll make him an offer you can't refuse. Coke or Pepsi? Coke. This one's actually the lime Diet Coke. It's actually quite nice. But I do like Pepsi, but Coke is the preferred one. What do you think is the better trilogy, Kung Fu Panda or How to Train Your Dragon? Oh, good question. I'm going to go with Kung Fu Panda. I do like the How to Train Your Dragon trilogy, but I've had a lot of... my opinions on the movies have changed a bit. I still really like them, but I feel the third one is a little bit weak. It's decent. It's a decent ending, but yeah, I really think this trilogy starts out very well. I think Kung Fu Panda actually is more consistent. I think all three of them are fantastic. The third may not be quite up there with number two, but I still thought it was really good. But both are close for me. Bane from The Dark Knight Rises or Bane from Batman and Robin? Which one is better? Oh, yeah, because we're doing serious questions. Bane from Dark Knight Rises. Thank you. I know I've been requested to watch Stranger Things for a while, and I haven't done it yet. I'm sorry. Slap. Which of these lowbrow comedies loosely based on books do you think is worse? Gulliver's Travels with Jack Black or The Cat in the Hat with Mike Myers? Oh, The Cat in the Hat. I mean, Gulliver's Travels is shit, but it's just plain and simple shit. The Cat in the Hat, literally, well, I'm going to call it the cat who shat on the map, because literally that's what it does. It shits all over the source material. I mean, if Dr. Seuss could ever see the movie, he'd probably be spinning in his grave. I mean, I just don't like that film. It's terrible. Favorite film composer? Well, that's a good question. The obvious choice is John Williams. He's done so much. He's probably my favorite. But I do really like Michael Giacchino. I think he's done quite a lot of good scores. Howard Shore is another favorite of mine, but he's mainly known for Lord of the Rings and The Hobbit. So I'm going to go with John Williams. Do you think if Heath Ledger lived, he would have made a cameo in Dark Knight Rises? Potentially, yeah. Or he might have even had small involvement with Tom Hardy's Bane. Who knows? Would you ever do a rant on the Jack Black Gulliver's Travels? Yeah, maybe, if I can see it. I'd have to watch it again. I don't know if it's on Netflix or any other streaming service. I don't own the movie, so that's the only way I could see it. Do impressions of characters from Batman and Robin. Well, I did Mr. Freeze earlier. I could try and do Poison Ivy. Oh, the plants! You're tormenting them! I'll seek justice, you psycho! Bane! I freeze. I'm Batman. How are you supposed to work together if we don't trust each other? Soup me up, Uncle Alfred. I'll cancel the pizzas. Oh, go on then. Let's kill the dinosaurs. The Ice Age. Thoughts on Lord of the Rings, The Ring of Power? Well, it hasn't come out yet, but the trailer, it looks all right. I think it looks visually quite nice, but I think the proof of the pudding is in the eating, so to speak. The Jack Black Gulliver's Travels is on Disney Plus. Oh, thank you. Right, I will do that. I will do a rant on that film at some point. So thank you. Characters from Superman 4. Oh God, I don't know if I can. I haven't seen the film in such a long time. Give me a chance to watch the clips, and then I'll do impressions for you after this stream, because I can't remember what half of them sound like. I'll do Superman, but I can't remember how the others sound. No, stop! The people! And I'll do an impression of everybody who went to see this movie. There we go. Have you played the first-person shooter video games set during World War II? No, I haven't really. I'm afraid to say. Well, I've been on for an hour already. God, it's going quick. Bum, 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 bum. I don't know, man. When is a jazz album coming out? I don't know. Oh, well, I'm not releasing a jazz album, but I will be at some point releasing a song for my Bond film. Well, it'll be released with the film in July, so it's not too long to go. Yeah, looking forward to that. Getting that organized slowly but surely. Oh, hello, new person that's joined the live chat. Ah. Do you think David Yates should step down as the director of Fantastic Beasts? Yeah, I think we've had this discussion before. Yeah, I mean, I think to be honest, well, if this one, Secrets of Dumbledore, doesn't do well critically, they'll scrap the next two, so he won't have a choice to step down. But if they do make 4 and 5, I think after that he should probably step down and do something else. I appreciate what he's done for the series, but yeah, I suppose it would be nice to have a fresh vision at some point. But yeah. Favorite moment from Heath Ledger's Joker? Probably his introduction, actually, when he comes in and he's talking to those guys and he's like, I'm going to make this pencil disappear. You know, all of that stuff is fantastic. But all of his scenes are phenomenal. There's not one that I don't like. 24-hour stream. Get me a Red Bull and then we'll see. Who is the weakest main character in Fantastic Beasts? It's a good question. There's quite a few main characters. I don't know, actually. I might say Tina. Yeah, I think Tina. I do like her, but I do think she needs a bit more development. And if they make the next 2 films, hopefully she'll have more to do. Electric Dino. Someone's already asked me that question earlier, and I've seen a little bit of the trailer. Yeah, it looks all right. What technical aspect of filmmaking do you enjoy most? For example, camera, sound, lighting, editing, visual effects. Probably the editing I enjoy most. I do like assembling the cuts. That does kind of gets me excited. You know. Do you think they'll ever make a Cars 4? Well, yeah, I suppose they might. I mean, if the merchandising is still selling, then yeah. Let's milk that cow for all the cash that it's got. That's their attitude towards it. You ever had a Bond burnout? Sometimes. I mean, you know, in the past, I've been I usually fixate on one thing for a while. I get into Bond, and then something if there's a new film coming out from another series, I'll switch my attention to that, or I've got a lot of like film and franchise interests, but I'll switch it up. But I haven't really had a Bond burnout for quite a while. If anything, during lockdown, I was having Bond cravings. I was so fucking obsessed with getting No Time to Die. And ever since then, I still haven't sort of lost that interest. So, yeah. And I think over this year, because it's the 60th anniversary, it's a big year for the series. Maybe next year, I'll do less Bond things. But in terms of Bond burnout, the only thing I think maybe with my own Bond films, there have been times when I felt burned out, which is why I sort of cancelled the third one, and then I've restarted it since then. I think once I've finished 50 Slices of Bonding, which is my Bond film that's going to come out in July, I'll feel like, woo, okay, I need a rest from that now. So that's probably the closest thing I would say. Do you ever think they'll make a Cars 5? I mean, I don't know. Maybe if I talk to Pixar and sleep with the director, maybe they'll do that. For legal reasons, that's a joke. No, yeah. Again, much like the answer to the other question, if there's money to be made, then they'll do it. Do you think that ranking of The Dark Knight on IMDb at 4th place is too high? No, I wouldn't say so. Bond cravings should be a cereal. Would you eat it? Yeah, I probably would actually. Yeah, Electric Dino. I would recommend No Time to Die. If you like the James Bond films, if you like Daniel Craig's era, then it's definitely I think it's gonna win you over. Hopefully. Yeah, maybe. There's a chance that my Doctor Who reviews wouldn't have continued. Well, they may have continued, but at a slower rate. I don't know if I would have had the time to get all those Tom Baker ones done, because I spent a long time out of work actually during lockdown. I didn't have a job, which was unfortunate. Luckily, I'm in work now. It was probably a good time to be out of work in hindsight because of the pandemic and everything that was going on, and I was living with my parents, so luckily I had some stability on that front. But yeah, no, it was great to finish the Tom Baker reviews, so I was happy with that, with the way it worked out in the end. And now I've finished Classic Who, and I'm almost finished with the new Who stuff that I want to do. But I think there have been times when I've had Doctor Who burnout, and I think I'll definitely have to take a long break from Doctor Who after Peter Capaldi reviews, especially as my life is going in a different direction from September. So yeah. Do you ever think they'll make a Cars 6? Vroom fucking vroom. Would you ever consider reviewing Torchwood or Sarah Jane Adventures? Maybe, but like I said, I'm going to take a long break after Peter Capaldi reviews. So potentially in 2023, I might consider that, especially as they're not that long. Yeah, I might consider doing that. We'll see. You ever wanted to throw a Doctor Who story out the window? Yeah, although luckily I've never had the privilege because I don't own a lot of them. But yeah, Let's Kill Hitler, chuck it out the window. That's one of the worst. Hellbent which I have to review soon, is actually probably one of the worst Doctor Who stories ever, or probably the worst of the entire show, and maybe even one of the worst pieces of television. It's just so bad. So that one definitely. But yeah. Which Doctors have you been the saddest to see regenerate? Well, obviously David Tennant, because he's my favorite Doctor. Christopher Eccleston, Tom Baker was pretty sad to see go. And actually Matt Smith I was quite sad about. I thought, I actually quite liked him. Davison as well. And I mean William Hartnell, the first Doctor. But the means by which he had to leave was a shame. But I think to a degree, all of the regenerations have been sad. Well, maybe apart from Colin's one, not because of Colin, but because of the way it was done. But yeah, I've kind of felt something for all of them. I'm not sure about Capaldi's one. I haven't watched Capaldi's regeneration yet, so I'm bracing myself for that. Favorite dinosaur? Ooh. This is going to sound strange, but because I used to watch that film when I was a kid called Dinosaur, the Disney one, I'm going to say the Iguanodon. I don't know, something about them. They're just really cool. But I like T-Rex and Brachiosaurus and all those other ones. Maybe I'll re-upload the Space Pirates review, potentially. Haven't thought that far ahead, to be honest. What would you say is the major problem with Clara? Would you say she is the worst companion? I think she's one of the worst, definitely. I'm not sure if she's the absolute worst. But, God, it's. I mean, Jenna Coleman's a good actress, and she does try with the material she has, but it's the fact that they made the character so arrogant and so self-important. And, you know, when she became a control freak, that was when it started to get unpleasant for me. Like when she was with Matt Smith, it was fine. It was like, okay, she's a little bit full of herself, but she's kind of cute and charming, and you know, she worked with him. I just don't think she has any chemistry with Capaldi, and I don't think that they work as a duo. I think it's just mismatched. And I think she stayed way too long, and they started to. I mean, I understand. Okay, they wanted someone for the younger audience to relate to. Fair enough, but you know, I'd rather the Doctor have been companionless, to be honest, because I think that there's only so much they could do with that character, and they kind of exhausted the character of Clara to the point where they were like, well, okay, if we want her to stay, we've got to make her more central. And I think that was the problem. And she just started to drive me nuts. Again, the main problem is that, you know, there's no direction with her. It's either hot or cold. You're either going to get an episode where she's not so bad, and then you're going to get one when she's really bad. And again, I feel bad for saying that, but it's Jenna Coleman. I mean, Jenna Coleman's fine, but it's the writing. I think if the scripts were different, if they kind of thought more of a journey for the character, then that would have been fine. And I don't think they also knew when to call it a day with her. Like, there were so many times when Clara's exit was teased, but it was never, and then it was retconned straight after that. I think Clara's exit should have honestly been the end of Series 8. End of Series 8 should have been her last story because of the way that she was in the cafe with the Doctor. But then her staying all the way through till Series 9 was just dragged out. You know, I didn't understand why. Although I do have to admit, Face the Raven was a rather good episode, and it was a good ending for her, or so we thought it was the ending. But yeah, she's a really complex character for a number of reasons. She's a really difficult character to invest in, and far too self-indulgent for her own good. But that's because of the script. Anyway, do you look forward to another Land Before Time film? No. Oh yeah, Adventures of Buckwild sucks. Do you think Dominion will be better received than Fallen Kingdom? Considering the director of Jurassic World is doing it. Yeah, I mean, Colin Trevorrow might do a good job. I mean, you know, I thought he did a decent job with the fourth film, Jurassic World. I mean, it was fine, you know, but it was very much the same as the first one. So yeah, he's obviously bringing the old cast back, and they're trying to bookend this series. So hopefully it will end on a good note. But yeah, I'm not going to expect a masterpiece. I'm just going to expect something that's good and enjoyable. So at the very least, if it's a good ending, that'll be good. In terms of whether it will be received better than Fallen Kingdom, who knows? I can't predict that. Yeah, I did consider changing my YouTube name because that was at a point where I thought to myself, I don't know if I want to review Doctor Who anymore. That was when I was having Doctor Who review burnout. But since and I think I had some mental health problems to deal with, which have been dealt with now. So in the end, I thought, you know what, I've got enough content to keep my name, and also I thought to myself, well, if I'm going to change my name, I have to go back and re-upload all my videos with a new name, because it would still say "Welcome to Mr. TARDIS 11's review." So I thought if I change my name now, I'll have to re-upload every video, and I couldn't be asked to do that. And then I thought to myself, you know what? I've actually still got enough Doctor Who content on the channel for me to keep the name, even though I wasn't going to review much of it forward. But obviously, then I decided to continue the Doctor Who reviews after I took a long hiatus. So it was just a phase, unfortunately. But there we go. What would be your biggest piece of advice for Disney making a Star Wars trilogy? Plan ahead. Write the scripts first. Delta and the Bannerman or Time Lash? Which one is worse? Oh, fuck. They're both as bad as each other. Probably Delta and the Bannerman's worse, because at least with Time Lash, you've got Perry. So that's the only defense I'll say. Time Flight or Warriors of the Deep? Which do you hate more? Probably Time Flight. Because, watch my review. You'll find out why. Where's the biggest animal you could beat in a bare knuckle fight? What do you take me for? Yeah, I don't know really. That's a very weird question. I've never been asked that before. I'm a big fella. Not sure, to be honest. I suppose a wolf. I don't know. I don't know. What a very strange question. What would you say is the biggest problem with the Master during the 80s? They didn't. I don't know. I think they just picked random stories for him to appear in. I don't know if they really had a clear idea of where the character was going to go. It just kind of seemed like they felt forced to include him because he was the Master. But towards the end, they did start to make him a bit more prominent, which was good. And yeah, I don't know really. It's a hard one to call. Some of the stories, I feel he's kind of unnecessary in, but other stories like Survival, he's completely necessary. So yeah, it's one of those pendulum things. It's kind of, could swing one way or the other. The most disgraceful Bond moment: Die Another Day. I mean, just all of it. No, probably the windsurfing scene. That's a terrible scene. Bond restarting his own heart. That's disgraceful. That's just so unrealistic. He's not Jesus, for God's sake. Would you consider seeing Die Another Day on the big screen? Probably not. How would you cast? Oh, do you mean who would I cast as myself in a biopic? To be honest, I don't know. I wouldn't want to have that burden. Yeah. Terry, what do you think of Terry Malloy as Davros? Is he the one in Davison's era? If so, I like him. He does shout quite a lot. I forget which era he's in, but he is. He is good. He is good. A little bit over the top in places, but pretty good. It's been a while since I've seen it. Oh yeah, yeah. Michael Fisher's the best Davros, easily. Julian Bleach, I believe, is the guy in the new series. He's quite good. I like him a lot. Oh god, you wanted to do a Chronos impression. I told you this was going to turn into an impression show. Chronos, the big flying bird from the Time Monster. There we go. There's plenty more where that came from. Impressions, that is. Not Chronos. Ligma? Who's Ligma? Yeah, I mentioned earlier, Jack, about your Q&A, and it turned into an impressions show. But still, it was funny, very funny. I'm sorry, Reese. I've got literally no idea who you're talking about. What is the worst for you? What's the worst Cyberman story? Closing time. Well, I'll need to watch a clip of this person, Reese. I'm sorry. I know I'm a boring person who hasn't seen anything, but I'm afraid that's just who I am. I'll have to have a look. So bear with me. Yeah, I'll do it later and send it to you. If you were forced at gunpoint to watch Terminator 3 or Morbius, which one would you choose? Probably Terminator 3. No apologies necessary. It's fine. I think I'm better to watch the clip off when I'm not live, just in case of copyright things. But yeah, any more questions? There's only 2 people watching this now. So. If you can't think of any more questions, I'm happy to do more impressions if I know the person. Toast or bread with butter? Probably toast. Hello, I'm still here as well. You're here until the end. Well, it's only 23 more hours to go. Now, I usually go until a certain point when I feel like I want to stop, or if there's not as many questions, which is rare. Normally, I'll just go for about no longer than 2 hours, otherwise it gets a bit long. Any food that I hate? Don't like tomatoes, don't like cucumbers, don't like red cabbage, don't like beetroot, don't like mashed potato, don't like swede. Those are just kind of some main ones. I'm normally, as you can see, I'm not normally that fussy when it comes to food. So, yeah. Rice, don't care for rice, I'm afraid. Pie or mushrooms? I like pie, but sometimes I have mushrooms in the pie. So both. I'm afraid I haven't seen Walking with Dinosaurs. I'm sorry, but I've heard of it. Which is better than nothing. Good question. Filling your fry or scrambled egg on toast? I do like a good fry up, but I will also eat scrambled eggs on toast. It's a good breakfast to have. Very good. I can just imagine you, if you asked me that question in person, you'd say, will they make a cast? 7! Meet the Robinsons. Yes, I've seen that. Not for a long time. It was okay, from what I remember. Sorry, just bored. Ignore me. You ever switched the film off that you were sick of? Taken 2. I did try to watch Taken 2. I got about 50 minutes in and I gave up. So bad. Really bad. Maybe I'll review the Taken films one day. Saban. Oh, yeah. I have a question for you, Reese. Have you seen Dune? I bet you have. You ever fallen asleep in cinema? Yeah, last night, actually, when I was watching Morbius. Although the time when I probably fell the most asleep, when I missed most of the film, it might have been the 2014 Godzilla. There have been a couple of times I've been to late showings with a friend, and then I've gone back to see a film again because I've fallen asleep. I think I might have done that with The Rise of Skywalker. No, not The Rise of Skywalker. I can't remember. Yeah, well, I've definitely done it once or twice. Yeah, I'm sorry too. I'm not a fan of the Sonic movies, but I'm sorry, I just don't like them. Have you been to the BFI IMAX at Waterloo? I've been to it. I've seen it, but I've actually not watched a film there. I'd love to watch a film there. I was thinking of going to watch No Time to Die there, but it was so expensive. Way too expensive. So I decided against that in the end and went to the Odeon in Leicester Square, which was not quite the same, but it was still good enough for the experience. I agree. It's not as good as Blade Runner 2049. That movie is fantastic. Dune is good. It's very well made. It's a little bit long and a bit. I didn't think the ending was much of an ending, but obviously they've split it into 2 parts. So yeah, but it's not hard to see why it won all the Oscars. So I do think Denis Villeneuve is an amazing director, and he's definitely trying to bring some creative flair to the industry, so that can't be a bad thing. Ever consider watching a film in 4DX? I have seen a film in 4DX, actually. I've seen a couple of films. One of my friends loves 4DX. I'm not crazy about it personally. I think it's a gimmick, but my friend likes it. So I've been to a couple. I've been to Aquaman in 4DX, and then I went to, I think, Jurassic Park in 4DX during lockdown, which was all right. I mean, essentially every film you go to is kind of the same, really. But it is what it is. The worst line of dialogue in Attack of the Clones. I'm haunted by the kiss you should never have given me. No, actually, the worst is probably, I don't like sand. It's coarse, rough, irritating, and it gets everywhere. But not like here, where everything's soft and smooth. 4DX, I mean, it's okay. It's not detestable. You can sit through a movie and still watch it fine, but the seat moves around a little bit. You get sprayed occasionally, and then sometimes you feel something on your back. There's also like a lavender scent that is released as well. When I went to see Aquaman, I got sprayed with water a bit, but that's part of the experience. It's not something I'd pay extra price for. I think it is honestly a gimmick, but yeah. Oh, right. Did anyone notice that it was in 3D then, if you didn't have the glasses? Hi, Dynamite. It's going good. Hope you're okay. Oh, well, if you ever want to chat, then, leave me a message. I'm always happy to listen. How many series do you think Eccleston should have done? 3 to 4. I think maybe 4 series as the Doctor would have been good. We haven't had a Doctor do just 4 series. It'd be nice. Oh, that must have been embarrassing. Did you go to the IMAX one? Was it in? Did you guys at Enfield? Donuts or toffee crisps? I've never tried toffee crisps. I've tried toffee popcorn. Probably donuts. Krispy Kreme, actually, specifically. They are lovely donuts. Oh, Stevenage, yes. Yeah, that was where I went to 40X with a friend. I've got a friend who lives in Stevenage, and we went there. So, you're inventing a character who's basically a dragon and a squid. Very unusual. But, yeah, it'd be interesting to see some concept art if you ever get a chance to draw that in. You ever been late to the cinema? Yes, a few times. I remember actually when I was very young, I went to see the Chronicles of Narnia, the first one, Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. And I think the first time we went, we were on time. And then the second time we went, we got in the McDonald's Happy Meals, they were giving out free cinema tickets to go and see Narnia for kids. So we went again to see it because we all loved it a lot. But we were 5 minutes late. We missed the introduction of the film, which was with the air raid scene. But we arrived at the scene when they were at the train station, so we didn't miss too much. But I'm normally quite a stickler for time, to be honest. So I very rarely turn up late to the cinema. If I'm late, it's mainly because someone else is, taking a while. I think there was one time I went to see The Greatest Showman, and me and my friend were a little bit late, but that was because my friend was traveling from his house to mine and was parking up, so he got stuck in traffic on the way, but that's not his fault. You ever missed a film entirely because you couldn't make it to the cinema? I don't think so. Not to my knowledge. There was one time where I was planning to go and see the new Wonder Woman film. I was going to travel on the train to go and watch it somewhere else because my local cinema wasn't playing it. I was going to go and see it on Christmas Eve, 2020. But then I was told that we had family plans at the last minute. So I don't know. I'd already got on the train, so I had to, and I was a bit uncertain about getting home as well. And I know that traveling at that point was a little bit, they were a bit uneasy about you traveling unless it was for an essential reason. So I was kind of cheating a bit with the rules. But I ended up just coming home. I got off at one of the stops before I needed to, and then came home. So I missed that, and I'd actually booked the ticket as well, which was a shame. And I wasn't allowed a refund, which was annoying, but never mind. Turns out the film wasn't all that anyway, so I didn't miss that much. But never mind. More of a pirate dragon. Oh yeah, that's a pretty cool concept, Dinobot. Yeah, certainly the music would be kind of good to have that. Watching Return of the King extended edition in the cinema, did all the seats hurt your ass after a while? I did have to get up a couple of times to go to the toilet, but I was very quick. I was drinking my drink very slowly. But luckily I'd seen the film, so I tried to go at moments that I thought where I wasn't going to miss too much of the big stuff. Like some of the quieter scenes, I went to the toilet like a couple of times within the space of an hour or so because the film was 4 hours long. But luckily the screening I was in, they had recliner seats, so it wasn't as uncomfortable as you might think. I mean, by the end of it, when I stood up, I was like, whoa, that was long. But I think it was more comfortable than what it would have been if it was in the standard seats. So, not too bad as far as I'm concerned. How did it feel the first time you released one of your films? Had somebody compliment it? Yeah, funny you should ask that, because the guy in this chat, Reese Williams, I went to college with him, and he was actually in it, funnily enough. Family bonding. He played George Lazenby. And when I showed people the rough cut of it, so that it wasn't entirely finished yet, people laughed. They thought it was funny. And then after I'd finished the film, like in the summer that year, people were saying, "Oh, you should make another one. Should make a second one. You know, Christmas bonding." And then I made that, and I thought when I was making the second one, I thought I've got more ideas. So then I decided to make a third, and I'm still finishing the third. It's been a passion project for quite a few years, and you know, without that sort of reaction to the first one and that encouragement, I probably wouldn't have made Christmas bonding or 50 slices of bonding. So it's been a real. It was really interesting to have that first time reaction, because I thought, I don't know if people like my ideas. They might think I'm crazy, and it is admittedly a crazy idea. You know, 6 James Bonds as a family bubble. It's a bit weird. But most people just embraced it and saw the funny side of it because it was a parody. So, yeah, I feel very privileged about that. And I'm privileged that Reeves stepped in to help me for that, because he really saved my ass. And he stepped in to act in it as well, considering that's not his forte. He stepped out of his comfort zone. I appreciate that. So, yeah, I'll always have a special place for it. It's not the best thing ever made. It's certainly flawed. But hopefully the third one, when it comes out, and this second one, will make up for that, and it will hopefully be a good trilogy, notwithstanding. So yeah, it was a good experience. But thanks for the question. Where was I? Was there an intermission for Return of the King Extended Edition? No, there wasn't actually. I did ask them as I was buying my ticket, as I was buying my popcorn. I was like, "Is there going to be a break halfway through?" Because they do on the DVD, and she was like, "I don't know." They just literally played the whole film all the way through. Luckily, it didn't feel 4 hours long. It was so engrossing. But it did feel long. I mean, no doubt about it, it felt long. But surprisingly, it wasn't as much of a strain as I thought it would be. Probably because I've seen the film so many times and I love it. But that's just me. Yeah, there was a few other people in there, actually. And it was, oh, God. It was so good, though. It was so good to watch it on the big screen. Anytime Lord of the Rings is re-released on the big screen, I will be there. Maybe if they show it at the BFI, I will go and watch them at the BFI. All 3 of them extended. I don't care how long I'm there for. I will go and watch them. They are worth it. You've had to deal with trolls. How do you manage them? Well, yeah, I mean, you know the answer to that. With trolls, I usually just block the comments, don't acknowledge them, don't even reply. It's not worth it. They just want to start an argument over nothing. I've had people comment about my appearance and comment about my reviews in a distasteful way. I can accept constructive negative criticism, but to a point. You know, when you start to get personal, when you start to insult, that's when I'm just like, delete and block, you know, because at the end of the day, it's just not worth the aggro. It really isn't worth the aggro. Oh, nice. You started doing reviews. Oh, awesome. Recently? I'll have to check some out. Have you ever been sick in the cinema or not well when watching a film? There was one occasion, I think when I went to see Deadpool the first time, I had a cold. And I think when I saw the first Fantastic Beasts movie, I was getting over a cold at the time, which was, you know, it wasn't the best sort of condition to be in to go and see the movie, but I was still enjoying what I was seeing. Yeah, nowadays I would obviously not be allowed to go in like that because of COVID. But this was way before COVID, so didn't need to worry about that. When you're making your various works of fun or whatever, how frequent is it you get overwhelmed or burn out? It does happen. It's happened a fair amount of times. When I made Christmas Bonding, the second Bond film, there was a lot of people involved, and logistically it was becoming quite bigger than I thought it was going to be, and there were times I was having issues with a certain person involved. Luckily, we patched everything up, and it was all good, but that was stressful. But this third one is, God, it turned out to be even worse. Just the whole situation, like the logistics of managing it, I was overwhelmed, and I think, to be honest, I didn't go into it with enough planning. And I think that was probably why it wasn't feeling like it was working. Whereas, you know, I cancelled it and I didn't think it was going to come back, but it did come back once the COVID restrictions eased. Turns out the pandemic was coming, so I probably would have had to cancel it anyway. But now I'm in a position where it was brought back, and we spent more time on the scripts. I got a couple of people to be my co-producers, and we worked together on it. I started to let people in a bit more, and I think that was what I needed to do before. But you know, we all live and learn from these experiences. Other things, like I made the animation, that took a while. That was stressful, tedious. Making my graduation film, I filmed it in a day, and I had literally a weekend to edit it. So that was a bit of a rush job. So various things. I think with every project, there's a burnout period, but you just gotta remain optimistic and remain confident that you'll finish it and you'll get through it, which is why I'm looking forward to finishing this 50 slices of bonding. It's I mean, and also you just got to go into it knowing you're not going to please everyone. Someone's going to look at it and go, "What the hell is this? This ain't going to work." But I'm confident that, you know, this third film in the Bond trilogy will hopefully be good. And I'm going to be starting a film course soon, so I'm going to be making loads of projects, and obviously with time restrictions to make them. So yeah, but I think eventually, you know, the key is to be organized, and I've been praised by my previous college for being a good producer, so I'm quite good at time management and working with people's schedules, and being realistic about what I can achieve. So as long as you keep everything focused and keep within that mindset, I mean, it is easy to be overwhelmed, but the key is to just say, right, okay, is this doable? If not, we'll change it. You know, you have to adapt constantly, and if you don't adapt, then you're never going to make what you want to make. So that's my sort of take on it and my advice. Where was I? What made you start reviewing on YouTube? Watching other reviewers like Jeremy Johns. He was the main one that I used to watch. Funny enough, I don't watch him that much anymore. I think he's really gone downhill. But yeah, it was mainly that, and I liked films, and I wanted to just share my opinion, and also as a chance for me to probably become a bit more confident in myself. It has taken a while, and I've certainly had to work at it, but I enjoy it. It's a nice hobby, and I'm still going to do it as long as I can do it and I have the time to do it. But my content might become a little bit less frequent as the years go on, but it's a lovely thing to do, and I've met some great people, so I can't complain. Have I ever been in a fight? There was one time I was in a fight. I was defending a friend. I was having a stressful time. It was at school, and I was actually being bullied at the time. But my friend, he was having a lot of stress himself. He was autistic, and I was trying to calm him down because he looked as though he was about to faint. And then this other guy comes over and nearly pushes my friend over. I just lost it. I'm not the type of person, despite what my physical appearance might suggest, I'm not the type of person to get into a fight. But I was wound up that day. I lost it, and I threw this guy against this little minibus that was parked in the playground, and I nearly punched him before the teachers came along. But it takes a lot for me to lose my patience. So that was a bit of a difficult situation. That's the sort of closest to a physical fight. I mean, obviously, I've had like fights with my sister and stuff over the years, but very rarely have I had any major fights, I'd say. Yeah. I'm not going to sing in my normal voice. No, I'm not going to sing. I don't feel confident singing. Yeah. Bye, bye, Miss American Pie. Yeah, sure. I mean, we can talk about 50 slices of bonding soon. I've kind of been busy with kind of getting it going again. The good news I can tell you is that the song is being worked on. So soon, once we've got the song kind of more or less composed, we can then think about the title sequence. And if you still want to be involved in that, just message me. I want to try and keep it simple, but at the same time, I want to have it look sort of fairly stylistic. But we'll talk about it on Facebook. Not your biggest field of interest, but when do you think they'll make new dinosaur documentaries? Not sure, to be honest. Like you said, it's not my field of interest, so it's not my area of expertise, so I'm afraid I wouldn't know. If you could travel back in time to see a famous opening night for a movie, what would you choose? Oh, yes. Oh, good question. Definitely A New Hope, Star Wars A New Hope. Well, at the time, it was just called Star Wars, but that would be amazing to see. Goldfinger, one of the old Bond films, to see the opening night of that would be great. And Skyfall, my favorite Bond film. I mean, I didn't see that on opening day, but even when I did see it, queues outside the door of the cinema in where I live. Wow. Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows Part 2. I'd love to go back to that. I did see that on opening night, and it was rammed in the cinema. It was pretty packed, but it was worth it. It was worth it. And obviously, the Lord of the Rings movies. Like I was too, excuse me, I was too young to see them when they were first released. I was only 6 when Return of the King was released, nearly 7, but still. I mean, I've had the chance to see them on the big screen, so I am very lucky. But to see them on first release, when everybody was wowed and cheered and applauded, I often find it's a really surreal experience when you're in the cinema and people applaud and all of that. And also The Godfather 2, I'd love to have seen that on first release, but again, lucky enough to see that on the big screen recently. God, where am I? You ever had a really annoying people when watching a film in the cinema or at home? Yeah, there's been times in the cinema where there's been like kids, like teenagers, like laughing and joking. The most annoying cinema experience was the first It movie. When I saw that, I had to go on my own because my friends didn't let me down at the last minute. So I still went on my own and watched it. And there were some kids that were laughing at literally every scene. I don't know why. And then someone turned around and said, "I think your laughs are hilarious." And it was just like, oh, for God's sake, stop. I just want to watch the film. But other than that, not anything major. Happy Easter. If you had an unlimited budget, what movie would you make? Oof. Obviously, if I had a budget, I'd love to do something with a lot more effects, like maybe a space film or a fantasy film, something like that, on a fairly grand scale. Making more of an epic would be good. But yeah. Ever left the cinema before a film ended? You were so disgusted. You've asked me that earlier, so I'm not going to answer that. Yeah, I suppose I'm going to cheat and say Primeval. Primeval works as kind of ITV's answer to Doctor Who. It's kind of a nice spin on that idea. But it would be kind of cool to see maybe like a prehistoric Primeval series, like maybe the anomalies had been opening for a longer period of time than we thought. Maybe there's a group of characters, who are a team of people set in the olden times or something, or in the future, and we see, I don't know, other things come through the anomaly, like some aliens or something. Maybe they could go a little bit more sci-fi, and maybe they could, I suppose, do what Jurassic Park did and like crossbreed dinosaurs. I don't know. It's worth looking at, maybe. How do you deal with bullies at school? At school, I was very sensitive. I would let my feelings show a lot more. So I would sometimes respond back to them. Other times I wouldn't know what to say. It would upset me more. But if I was to look at myself now, I'd say, well, it's not worth the aggro. I very much, when I joined college, I had the attitude of, if anyone tries to bully me or starts pissing me off, I'm just not going to deal with that. It's just ridiculous. Oh, thank you, Reese, for saying that. Yeah, I'm not going to pretend it's easy, but I do love it. I do love what I do, and I just hope people like what I do. But yeah, you've just got to keep a clear head, and that's the most important thing. Sympathetic evil psychopaths and sociopaths. I'd like to see a mixture of all of them, because I think it makes the character more well-rounded. Um, think of like the Colonel from War for the Planet of the Apes. Like he's a psycho, and he killed his own son, but it was an act of war. It was because it was for the greater good. And while you can sympathize with him for losing his son, you can also look at him and go, well, he did what he had to do, and even though it cost him his family, which probably does make him a psychopath and sociopath, but nothing. It's weird. Nothing he ever did was personal, and that's the thing that Caesar was struggling to understand was that the Colonel, he didn't necessarily mean to kill Caesar's wife and son, but it was an act of war out of retaliation, really, to what was going on. So, yeah, it's an interesting discussion. I could talk about it all day, but I'm going to move on for the sake of pace of this video. Do you like wrestling? Not particularly. I mean, I have nothing against it, but it doesn't interest me. I totally want to be involved in the title sequence. Yes, it's very early days with the song. We've got a chorus kind of written. I can tell you the title of the song. It's called "The Truth in Your Lies." It's not called 50 Slices of Bonding. That'd be a bit weird. But yeah, once we have the song in a clearer shape, we'll have an idea of some of the titles that we can do. But what I can do is maybe talk to you on Facebook and discuss some of the ideas from the script and see what we can do to implement that. Because I'm no good with the technical effects, so that's where I would basically hand it over to you. I would shoot the stuff, but obviously, like, I might need to ask you to do some effects if possible. But anyway, we'll discuss it later. There have been times you are writing dialogue, one moment you're on a roll, and then another moment you're struggling to get something down. Yeah, always. I mean, look, it's like I said earlier, you've got to be prepared to adapt, and you've got to be prepared that some things might not work. You can try something, and then maybe when you get to filming or something like that, it may not work. Like, I've changed a lot of the script of my third Bond film. It's been one of those projects that's been, you feel like it's been a struggle to make it, but at the same time, it's, you have to look at things from an optimistic point of view in order to succeed, and you've got to be prepared to let other people have their say, and that's what I think I've had to learn over the last 7 years of making these Bond films. So, yeah, but don't be defeated if something doesn't work. It's life, and it's filmmaking. But we get there in the end, and you just got to be passionate about it. You've been stranded somewhere or lost for a while. I think in London I was lost once. What lost Doctor Who stories do you want back? Well, all of them, really. Any sports you enjoy watching apart from football? Don't mind tennis. Tennis is kind of fun. And obviously, like the Olympics, watching that is nice. Song music on first listen was okay, but over time now you love it. Oh God, that's a interesting question. I'm not really a huge music person. I guess actually, yeah, The Greatest Showman. Like, when I first saw that movie, I thought the music is fine, but and it was really good for the film. But over the amount of times I saw it, and then the amount of times I heard the soundtrack, I thought, this is actually really, really good. And same with Encanto. And I watched Encanto in the cinema. I thought, yeah, the music is fine. But I've listened to the music since I've seen the movie, and I've gone, this is actually really, really good. Curry or Chinese? I prefer Chinese, but I do like curry. You ever super duper... What the hell? Sorry, Mitsu. Have you ever seen Super Duper Sumos? No. Worst cartoons you saw as a child? Oh God, worst cartoons. Trying to think. Oh no, I mean, my sister made me watch a few girly ones like Angelina Ballerina and Dora the Explorer. I had to watch a lot of that when I was a kid. Not that they're bad, but they just don't appeal to me. I've liked quite a few cartoons. I think SpongeBob over time got really bad. It got really shit. Yeah. Yeah, not sure. Favorite character who's just completely insane. The Joker is cheating. Okay, so an insane character who's my favorite character. And that's what makes them fun. Yeah, probably the Master from Doctor Who. Actually, John Simm's version of the Master. It's nuts. He's very out there, but the psychological reason as to why he's insane is very interesting. With the, is there anything you had to cut from a project because it didn't work due to logistical and financial reasons? Yeah, there's been a few things. Like I've had to rewrite scenes based on actors' availability that I've had to cut, and there was a time when I'd considered filming in a nuclear bunker, but that was going to be way too logistically difficult, and yeah, I wouldn't have afforded to hire it if that was what I had to do. So I cut that. Excuse me. Was there a franchise you were into, got out of it for a while, then when you got back into it, you became aware of stuff you didn't think about before? No, it made you more into it. I don't know. I suppose Jurassic Park. I never loved the movies as a kid, but I always thought they were kind of cool. So yeah, seeing them come back, and I quite like them. I think some of the things I've grown to realize, certainly about Fallen Kingdom, I thought, wow, that's actually kind of interesting. And Planet of the Apes as well. I feel like I understand those movies a lot more now. Yes, I have considered an original score. I'm gonna consider that going forward. When I start my course in September, after I finish 50 Slices of Bonding, I'm gonna try and see if I can find a composer. I think there is one person that I know who does compose music, so I'll depending on how long it takes, of course, I'll see. But yeah, I know it's possible, but obviously depending on budget and everything. Yes, I have had Blu-rays and DVDs that have been scratched, but I couldn't tell you which ones. It's been ages. Oh, sorry, I've been talking for ages. I'm sick of my own voice. I think I'll probably end up stopping in a minute because I need to rest the voice, but I'll give you guys a chance to ask a few more questions. I'm going to ignore that question. Yeah, interesting the way you've worded that question. I think, to be honest, Game of Thrones. I feel like it's something I should be into. I feel like it's something that I would normally quite like because it's fantasy, and I'm a big Lord of the Rings fan, and that sort of stuff appeals to me. But I just couldn't get into it. I mean, I watched the first 2 seasons, and I've sort of thought, okay, this is interesting to a point, and then I got to like the 3rd or 4th episode in the 3rd series, and I just gave up. I thought, what the hell is going on? It was way too convoluted, very hard to follow, too many characters, and the gratuitous sex scenes as well. Like, there's just far too many. But yeah, I mean, I respect people that like it. If they like it, then fine. But I just think it's very confusing. The story is really hard to follow. Maybe I need to watch more of it, but I've heard apparently it gets crap anyway after the 4th season. So I don't know. Yeah, a lot of it is just medieval porn. Looking forward to Star Trek 4. Yeah, I would say so. I think it should be good. I think they need to maybe do less of the action scenes and more about the story. I feel like certainly the last 2 to 3 movies, the J.J. Abrams ones and Justin Lin's Star Trek Beyond, were very much action driven. I feel like the fourth one needs to be more story driven, a bit kind of like the Undiscovered Country. I appreciated Star Trek Beyond having some character moments. I would like to have more of that, be the center of it rather than the action. Have the action spectacle, that's fine, but do less of it, I think. And honestly, maybe make a more compelling villain. Kroll was maybe not the most compelling villain in Star Trek Beyond. I don't think the new films have had the best villains, but they've been fine, I suppose. Favorite scene or line from Gimli? My favorite line from Gimli is when he's with Legolas in Return of the King, and he says, "Before I die fighting side by side with an elf," and Legolas says, "What about side by side with a friend?" And Gimli's like, I can do that. And also when he's like, "Not the beard! Nobody tosses a dwarf." Oh, he is funny, Gimli. Do you like Subway? Yes. What's your opinion on DreamWorks? Good. They are good, but they are inconsistent as an animation studio. It's a bit of a seesaw. It kind of goes up and down from good to bad. Most disappointing Blu-ray release? Possibly Spectre. The fact that we didn't have many more special features than what we could have done was a great shame. What do you think of the upcoming? I haven't seen The Bad Guys, so I if I do see it, I'll review it, but I haven't had the chance to see it yet. Ever watched The Prince of Egypt? Yes, and that is on my list of things to review. I need to review The Prince of Egypt at some point. I would consider low-budget practical effects going forward, depending on my ideas and what would work. I think I'll consider them. Maybe I'll re-review the Star Trek films. Yeah, perhaps some of my opinions might change, and some of my ratings might lower or go higher depending on which films. Do you think Patty Jenkins' Star Wars Rogue Squadron will be good? I hope so. I love the first Wonder Woman. Not crazy about Wonder Woman 1984. So I'll give it a chance, and I'm a Star Wars fan, so I'll definitely give it a chance. I don't know, to be honest, man. How did I survive a bear attack? I've got no idea. Right. I think I'm going to leave it there. I've been on for 2 hours now. So, thank you very much all for watching and listening. I appreciate all the questions. Thank you for your time. And happy Easter, everybody. And stay tuned for more reviews to come in the future. Please hit the like and subscribe button if you are new to this channel to receive more content like this. I do reviews of movies and Doctor Who and various other things. So, yeah. So until next time, thank you very much all for watching. And as always, I'm Mr. TARDIS11. See ya. Happy Easter.